Lampman. She has made Staten Island her home and her workspace, exhibiting unusually large sculptures in public parks, spaces, and galleries throughout the island. However, DB is not a New York native. She joins us on the East Coast from the land of enchantment, which is New Mexico. Now, how many of you guys have been to New Mexico? Oh wow, more people than I thought. Okay, for you unlucky people that have not been to New Mexico, it is called the land of enchantment for a very good reason. It is, can I tell you, when I landed in New Mexico, I almost crashed my rental car because I was looking at the mountains. I almost crashed my car. So the landscape of New Mexico is this mysteriously beautiful and very dangerous place. It's the desert, it's the Wild West, right? And that dichotomy between beauty and danger is what has informed her impressive career as a large-scale sculptural artist, although she has been known to dabble in performance, video, sound, and drawing. I wonder if DB knew when she was getting her BFA from Maryland Institute or her MFA from SVA that she would one day have her work displayed everywhere from Manhattan to Chicago to Rome to Italy to right here in Staten Island. Her most recent project, The Dance, featured 5 figures made of steel and nylon holding hands and dancing, floating 15 feet above the ground in the trees of Town Park. So not only is DB an accomplished artist, winning awards, grants, and commissions from all over the world, she is a trailblazer in the arts entrepreneurship scene. Together with her husband, metalworker Scott Van Kampen, DB co-founded Staten Island Makerspace, a community co-working space that offers equipment and workspace to skilled craftspeople and hobbyists. Makerspace is the first NYC EDC-sponsored small business incubator on Staten Island, which is a huge deal. And she oversees the educational programs of Makerspace. So DB's work involves planting and nurturing creative seeds here. In just 2 short years, she's overseen over 600 workshops and worked with over 4,000 children. She's an artist, she's an entrepreneur, and she's fostering the next generation of artists to live and create with more independence on Staten Island. So everyone, please welcome DB Lampman. DB, what changes have you seen in the arts community here as a result of opening Makerspace?
Well, it's been interesting. I mean, I've been here on Staten Island for about almost 14 years, and been in New York City for over 20. So, you know, during the time since I've been here on the island, it's been sort of interesting to see. There has been sort of I've seen a market change in the arts community over those years. You know, we see a lot of different kinds of people coming into the makerspace. Not just artists, but you know, young people that are working in sort of creative tech business, doing all sorts of different kinds of things. But there's, I've noticed a growing sort of energy, and it seems momentum in the art scene.
That's great. Well, thank you for catalyzing that. Okay. Well, now, DB, you have the Makerspace. You have people that are full-time artists using that space to create, but then you also have weekend hobbyist kind of people that probably work a full-time job doing computer programming, but want to do printing or whatever it is. Do you have any experiences that you can share from those kinds of people, the impact that your space has made on them, or the community it's given to them to explore that different part of them?
I mean, I think Susan's a good example. I mean, you know, I started the Makerspace because, you know, it was my studio, my husband's studio, and you know, we would spend hours on the weekend in there with our son, you know, working on stuff, and we had these conversations with each other. Like, it would be really cool if other people could have this opportunity to be able to come in and, you know, use this kind of equipment. And so that's kind of how the Makerspace was born. So, you know, we opened it up, and now people are coming in, and you know, it's really cool to be able to help people learn. You know, our goal is just to give people resources, you know, and to give them access to new ways to create. You know, Susan came in, and you know, she's been using our digital fabrication resources, the CNC machine and the laser cutter. You know, and that's you know, just another tool for an artist to, you know, a different kind of medium to work in and experiment with. So it's been really cool to see the different kinds of things that people are doing and how that changes. We have another, one of our members, Kevin Mahoney, who's a graffiti artist. And he was actually one of our very first Makerspace members, and he's been there since day one pretty much. But you know, he came in and he started taking, first he wanted to learn how to use our plasma cutter, which you can cut metal with like a high voltage. It just like kind of slices through the metal. He wanted to cut out shapes so that he could use them for stencils for his graffiti. And so, but then in the process, then he started taking all these different metalworking classes, got really into it. So like now he's making things, like now he's got a whole other body of work that's, you know, sculpture. And you know, this is somebody that never would have done that in the, to begin with. So it's been interesting. And then people are collaborating too, so people come up, it's great in a space where we've got a guy in there doing virtual reality and developing computer apps and stuff like that. And then, you know, on the other side of the room, you got somebody doing woodworking. And, so we've had some really kind of bizarre and interesting collaborations that, I gotta say, I mean, in some ways I feel like my art making, in some ways I feel like I make no progress. Like I feel like I started, like I have a background in dance, so, you know, I started, you know, I was a dancer, and then, you know, I went into visual arts, and I started in art school as a painting major, and I realized quickly that I couldn't stay flat on the wall, and it started, like Susan said, like I started pulling things apart and sticking them together, and then making these sort of theatrical kind of installations. And then all of a sudden I realized, like, I'm still sort of talking about dance in some ways in my head. It is still kind of the same. I've been having this sort of dialogue with my artwork and with what's in my head over and over and over and over again all these years. And it still kind of comes back to this, I'm still sort of interested in something that I was had a core of an interest in at the beginning. It's still kind of there. But changing medium and exploring different things, you know, you sort of get attracted as an artist to something, you know, you find some kind of medium and it's like, wow, I really want to play with this stuff for a while. Well, now I think, you know, filmmaking might be really fun to play with or something. But it's all kind of like the same dialogue. Yeah, and I think we have more liberty here too, in some ways than other artists in other boroughs. I have a friend that said that Staten Island's kind of like the Montana of New York City. Yeah, it's kind of like the Wild West. We can sort of do it, you know, we kind of have the liberty to be able to do what we want and kind of, you know, make our own thing happen here. Whereas, you know, in other places it's more difficult to do so.
And we're not spending every waking minute trying to pay the rent.
Right.
That's part of it.
I mean, like there's across the street from the Makerspace, we have this big empty lot that people have been dumping on, and we finally just convinced the city that they should just let us use it and turn it into a sculpture park.
Oh my God.
Wow, fabulous.
Which is cool. I don't know how we're gonna do it. We have no money. We're just gonna go there with some shovels and start putting artwork in there.
It's gonna happen. You just said it.
But you know, you can't do that like in Brooklyn or something like that, or Manhattan. That's not gonna happen.
Right.